Do you want to do it on your own? Because
No, I don't. No, I don't want to do it on my own. I don't want to do it on my own. You messed up the audio early on. We've done a load of headlines. We've talked about Bournemouth. We've talked about Southampton, and we've talked about some contracts, transfers, and some interesting things. You've had some interesting thoughts of your own. You've accused me of many things. I don't want to do it on my own. I want you to do it with me. Okay, we've got Adam Wicklow, who was in Norway in the fjords, and he sent a picture. That's proper forest all over the world. Adam Wicklow, Red Side of the Trent, you know him. He's a forest all over the world. That's
big
class.
Big fan.
Mikey Clark just downloaded to listen in my hotel in Manila. So Mikey Clark, also another regular guest of Forest Focus, another podcast. So yeah, he was in Manila. That's pretty cool. And finally, we've got Matt. You not swinging, not swimming, not in Hong Kong, not in Thailand like you have been for the past 5 weeks. You're back in action and you're with us. You were forest all over the world for a long period of time and you are back. Are you not?
I am back, sadly, back to normal life. Been away, having an amazing time. As it always is when one travels to far and distant places around the world, right? As Michael Clark must be feeling in Manila right now. Or Adam in the fjords. Or yourself, weren't you in Chicago and New York at one point?
I was in Chicago and New York and Toronto at the turn of the year. So yeah, I was away and I'm back and I'm excited and I'm really excited by how Forest season's been going. And, you know, since you've been gone, you went for a long period of time, 5 or 6 weeks. Forest haven't lost a game in the time that you were gone, which is just remarkable because it was a congestion of fixtures as well. So in fact, we've won most of those games that you were gone. Pretty magical stuff. You're back and the disruptions already began as well, Matt, because you haven't been in the WhatsApp group. You haven't been very active in the WhatsApp group with Statsman Will and myself. But as soon as you come back in the last 3 or 4 days, you're immediately accusing me of various things to do with the Forest Fantasy 5 games you've come up with. You're accusing me of being very patriotic because I want Omobamidele to have a recall option on a loan deal rather than sell him completely. You're insinuating a lot of things, and you know that's your immediate reaction to come back and come into the frame. And you know, I don't know if I appreciate it, but I suppose
was Omobamidele or not subject of conversation when Forest were talking about keeping him as an insurance policy in case we got relegated?
I don't know, but what I know
is... You do know. Let's not just be flip-floppy and fickly.
But it's not about being fickly. It's about
great defender, but it's good that he's moved on. He needs to move on and play someone else because then we can bolster our Arsenal in support of Murillo and Milenkovic. Because he's not at their level, is he?
But we might not be able to bolster that this January. What I'm saying is, there's a 25-man squad. He's obviously over 21, so he's not an under 21 player anymore. So obviously he would take up a spot. I get that. I'm just saying, can we not just loan him out to someone? Then he's not in our squad, and then we have a recall option in case someone gets injured. Because if we're playing a back 3 sometimes, which we are, most of the time we're playing a back 4. Our defenders right now are Murato, Murillo, Milenkovic. They're all great.
Did we get money for him, Chris? We can save a lot of time.
I don't know. Look, I don't know if the deal's fully done.
Because I'm sure that what you're suggesting wasn't just not thought about. I'm sure there's also finances at play here that will help balance the books, etc., etc. So let's assume the right decision has been made. We've got a brilliant recruitment team at the minute. We've got that Edu guy from Arsenal. Yeah, I think you're a bit sad because you had your heart set on him at one point, but we've moved on from Omobamidele as a club very quickly.
Look, it's not. Well, he hasn't left just yet. He might have left by the time this is released, but that's not the point. The point is the insinuation that you were saying I want to keep him necessarily. It's not that I want to keep him, even though he's come in and been brilliant last year when he played. It's more that I want a backup centre back, and we have 4 centre backs right now: Bali, Murato, Murillo, Milenkovic. And if 1 or 2 of them go down, that happened in one action 2 years ago. It happened one action against Fulham.
What does Omobamidele do then? Stay around in case the unlikely
No, he doesn't stay. I'm not asking. You're not getting it. I can't believe we're arguing.
I am getting it.
No, I'm not asking to stay around.
Let's move on.
I'm
you
saying
wanted to go on loan. I get it.
Loan him out, and then we can recall him if there's an injury. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Look, you did say something the other day which peeved me a little bit.
It might have been our only chance to make money or something. You don't know all the other details. That's all we're saying.
Okay, that's
more complex than your little.
Okay.
I don't know. What do they call that game? Management, FIFA manager.
I don't championship manager. I don't play
championship manager. No, but that's how you talk.
Right. Well, get a load of this with how I talk. You told me the other day that you'd enjoy listening to me on the Forest Focus episode because you think I'm very good at answering questions. But you also followed it up with a backhanded compliment because you said you're just not good at asking questions. You're not good on your own podcast. You're not good. That was the insinuation that I'm not good on this podcast, right?
Not that you're not good on this podcast. You just, like, you're doing it now. Drive it forward if you're going to lead it.
Don't worry about it. I'll tell you what.
Bury yourself in the mud constantly and then ask people questions with your own version of the answer in a monologue fashion, leaving people bewildered and having to go, I think he's asking me this, and they just have to start talking.
You're right. I do take a long time to get to the end of a question. I admit
that's all I'm saying.
Well, all I'm saying is
you're fantastic. You're a fantastic person to get answers.
I don't want to compliment on the air. Forget all this nonsense, right? I just want you to listen for a second. Because you said that, I've got a nice little game for us to play today, and it's called Headlines, right? And basically, I'm going to come up with a headline. I'm going to throw it your way. You're going to say yes or no to it. And if you want to say yes, we can explore whatever that headline leads to. And if you say no, then, and obviously it's Forest related. If you say no twice, then you take over the podcast. All right?
All right.
Fine. Headline number 1. You get the game, right? You get it?
I'd say I get it a bit, yeah. If I say no twice, I take over. So I just come up with them. Okay.
Okay. First headline, aggression.
Yes.
Okay, aggression. So aggression is what I had at the back end of that Southampton game at the weekend. It's one of the wins that I was most angry about, more than any other win we've had, probably because of Anthony Taylor and how it could have cost us. Now, I'm not talking about corruption or anything, but I do think he's absolutely incompetent at times. And I'll be honest, I think some of the early signs of that, where that foul was not a foul on Morgan Gibbs-White. Morgan Gibbs-White didn't foul anyone. It was thin air that Fernandes fell over into, and there was an early free, or the disallowed goal, or obviously the time added on, or the double yellow card that never came for Flynn Downs, or maybe even straight red. There was a few big moments that really could have cost us the back end of that game. And I was sat here, my wife was on the couch, and she was sat there looking at me, screaming at the screen. She'd never heard me that angry, and I was screaming all sorts.
I can imagine.
Fuming. But basically, I just wondered,
that's the kind of stuff I wish I was around to see, that I miss about when we used to watch Forest together. You absolutely laying into the screen, or opposition fans or referees, or even your own players when they've been hopeless, like when we've been at our worst. It's like great entertainment when something gets you back up. So yeah, I bet it was amazing for her to see.
Well, it's not but that's the point. It wasn't amazing for me. I was having a very stressful time. At the end of the game,
veins popping out the side of your head and stuff.
Oh yeah, I was losing control, and I was actually on the post match on Forest Focus, so I had to calm myself down a little bit and go, okay, let's go into a different mode here. But I don't think I did calm down too much, to be honest. But I was just happy we got the 3 points. But anyway, look, that was the aggression and angry win.
Aggression.
Well, no, I suppose we got an angry win at the weekend, but we've got to be chuffed to bits with it. And how are you feeling about it, I suppose?
Well, yeah, I'm glad that there was some dodgy referee decisions in it, because the first goal they scored was just complete unfortunate for Sales and for Forest, and could have been against anyone. Because if it hadn't been for that crazy goal and some horrible refereeing, I'd have been extremely disappointed that we weren't able to at least win 3-0, But it's really quite forgivable when you see how it actually played out in reality. And we're not just seeing through red-tinted glasses. Annoying. But we move on. We've got 3 points. Around the corner, we've got Bournemouth. That is something that you and I have talked about extensively for years, Bournemouth, AFC Bournemouth. I'm not willing for us to become like friends. As the soul, Forest and Bournemouth went up together. It's great to see these two teams at the top of the league. No, they absolutely shafted us when we could have nabbed automatic promotion off them. Not in hindsight that I'd want to trade that experience that we've had for anything, and it's old news now. But Bournemouth are arch rivals of ours, and we've had a miserable time against them over the years. I want to go there, and I'm anxious to win. I'm really anxious to win, not just for our continued title challenge, but for our newfound sort of state of being, where we put teams like Bournemouth to bed.
absolutely with you on that, by the way. And I do have a headline for that, so I may as well hit you with it now, right?
Okay.
Bournemouth.
What if I say no? What if I say no?
You have 2 no's. If you say no
Okay.
twice, you get to take over the podcast. So this would be your first no if you say no.
Okay, give us the headline.
Bournemouth, Storm, or injuries.
Is that the headline?
No, sorry, it's just the Bournemouth Storm. The Bournemouth Storm is the headline.
No.
Wow.
Because we've already talked through it. We get the point. Give us the next headline. Give us the next headline.
No, I'm not giving you the next headline. I need to talk about this. How are you not saying yes to the Bournemouth Storm?
Because I've just talked through that stuff. I've heard on multiple other platforms about how there's a storm of brewing this weekend and that Bournemouth are going to cancel on us again because they've got loads of injuries. So, okay, yes, I can see you want to talk about it.
You predicted me out of it. You're right. It is. It's about the Storm and they've got injuries and they might cancel even though they won last week against Newcastle. All right, fine. Next headline. We'll move on. You're right. Next headline. The Bournemouth rivalry.
Is that different to... Okay, I'll say yes because I want to hear your thoughts on it.
My thoughts on it are absolutely, as you said there, there are rivals. Fulham, Bournemouth and Forest came up and stayed up. I don't care if Bournemouth did. I quite like Fulham. We have a soft spot for Fulham, you and I, because
That's because of your mate that supports them.
You know, it's because we lived in that area as well for a little bit together. We weren't far
away.
That's why,
well, then why don't you like QPR?
I hate QPR. Right,
exactly.
Anyway, there's a different club. Let's move on. So no. The Bournemouth rivalry. Look, I don't forgive them for that time that they cancelled. I don't forgive them for the way that it all happened and we lost 1-0 and we should have had a penalty in that game at the back end of the championship season. The one that I don't forgive them most of all, and it's my own personal thing, right? There was a day of one of my anniversaries and I was living in Toronto at the time a couple of years ago. And we were 2-0 up against Bournemouth and cruising to victory at half time. And we capitulated. And Scott McKenna made a big mistake. They got in behind it late and won 3-2. They did the same again to us last year with Solanke, right? It just absolutely, it's a guttural anger towards those moments. And although, it's a nice fun team on the South Coast who got promoted with us and it's all, handshakes. And I know there's been opposition preview podcasts out with people who sound really like nice fans. I don't care. I want to bury them. I want to bury them in their own ground. I'm glad that they've got a shoestring side out at the moment. And you know what? I think we're going to beat them this weekend. And I'll give my score prediction in the end, but I think we're going to beat them this weekend. And I would love it, Kevin Keegan style again. I'd love it if we beat them this weekend. I'd absolutely adore it. We're a better side than them, and we're a better club, and they've got a small stadium, and I don't want to see them do well this season. I don't care about the romance about it. They're our rivals. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I detest them, and I detest that they're doing well the season that's meant to be all about Forest. I'd rather see... actually... It's nicely but I'd rather see Everton. You know what I mean? Up there and Ipswich.
And look, I have respect for
AFC Bournemouth. Oh, the club's run so well. Iraio is a great guy. I mean, I just can't take it.
He's a great coach. I respect their coach.
Yeah, we'll definitely take him at Forest, won't we?
Anyway, well, we wouldn't over Nuno right now because we're in third.
Right? Whatever, Nuno.
Anyway,
no.
Next headline. Matt's Murillo prediction.
You're going to say yes.
I know why you're going to say yes, because I think you probably, or maybe you don't remember what this is about, but Murillo's just signed a new contract. It's amazing news.
Haven't you heard?
Okay. He is one of the best
Breaking news, everybody. Problem is with these podcasts is we're so behind and we can't keep up.
Everyone knows we're not breaking the news, Matt. Anyway, Murillo signed a new contract. He is one of the best players I've ever seen play for Forest, bar none. One of the best players I've ever seen. And when he gets on the ball, it's really exciting. And I suppose there's a twofold thing to this. The first thing I will say is back a while ago, I think 2 years ago when he first signed for us and he hadn't played yet, we did a podcast called Peaches and Cream. And
that was a good title.
It was a good title. And I asked you about players that we hadn't seen play yet, because we signed a few players that we hadn't seen playing. And you had the most wonderful thing to say about Murillo. It was just so fascinating. You said in the interview you saw him speak and you were intimidated by how almost like selfishly confident he was in his ability to one day play Champions League football and go all the way. And he hadn't had a kick at the ball in the Premier League yet. But you said, wow, his interview, it blew me away. And you predicted big things for him. So I think that, that's annoyingly one of those predictions that you kind of throw stuff at the wall and it
as in I predict, because obviously everyone's predicting him to go to Real Madrid and all that. You're saying that I called it before he kicked the ball. I think I remember that now, and I think I will take that.
You did.
As I put on my lip balm.
If I could play the audio, I would now. But look, you
just tell Pete it's called Peaches and Cream. What number was it?
It was. I think it was number 1.
I think people are going to rush to Spotify and go, "Oh, I must hear this." I think if you've admitted it, it's enough.
No, they won't. They won't. But it was just one of those moments where you predicted it, and I couldn't believe it. And then like when he started playing, he was obviously from the off. We were like, "This guy's magnificent." I remember me.
So when I said it, what was your response? Please tell me you were like, "Not sure."
I didn't know. No, I just was trying to move on quickly because we were going. I think Divock Origi was before him or something like that, and then we'd seen Divock play a little bit, and then, I can't remember. But anyway, yeah. It was just a really interesting response. Anyway, the question I have about Murillo is, do you feel the same way that most Forest fans feel? I think most Forest fans feel this way, but when he goes on those charging runs, or when he shoots from 40 yards, or when he takes a free kick from distance that he shouldn't really be shooting, or when he runs up against Liverpool, he bombed forward and shot from distance when he probably could have laid the ball into Gibbs White or stuff. The technical side of me. Sorry,
the first thing I thought. Okay, I know, but well, back to our point. You're taking about 3 hours to ask the question. Go on.
No,
go on, ask it. Come on, for the sake of the listener, please. But
the question is, do you feel like I feel sometimes? I did feel at the beginning. I thought, oh no, just lay that ball off to Gibbs White. Or oh no, look, you've got yourself in a good position now. Play conservative and find our way into that offensive position that you found. Or do you feel no, just have a crack? Because at this stage, every time he shoots, I'm like, yeah, have a shot from 40 yards. Yeah, dribble past 10 players. I don't care if there's a gaping hole in the back. Yeah, charge forward against Brentford down the middle. Yeah, charge forward the other day against Southampton to win the game at the end and leave space behind you. I don't care. Well, there wasn't that much space behind it, but anyway, my point is, I like him taking those risks to do those magical things that might just work out, because we might never see the likes of it again,
So what are you asking me a question, or are you just telling me that you like it?
I'm asking you if you like it, or you'd prefer him to be more conservative when he's bombing forward.
No, of course not. That's why we have him. And also, the first thought I had once he got the new deal came through was brilliant. He might finally actually score one of them, and it'll be amazing for Forest fans to. There'll be a bit of a pub like "Ooh" when he does it, rather than sort of explosion of joy. It'll be like, hey, finally, but on the spectacular. It's really funny. It'll be quite
when he scores a spectacular goal, because he's already scored a goal, right? Against
he scored that header, but when he gets one of these catching the keeper off the line, 90-yard kicks or whatever it's going to be, it's good that he keeps trying, because it's like we're watching the process of him find his moment, and it will finally happen for him before 2029 at this rate at some point. And it'll be a great moment when it does. And I'm sure it'll only happen once.
But once is enough. I mean, I think the Southampton game, it would have been a great moment purely because we were 3-2 on the ropes. We'd had loads of injustices, and he just decided, I'm taking this ball and I'm going all the way to the under end of the pitch.
No, you know when it would have been great?
Luton.
Just after Wood scored against Liverpool when he had that crack.
Yeah,
that would have been. It would have changed so much about the final result. Then everything would have changed. But it would have been so good. Alisson just watched the ball.
Can I be honest? Obviously, I know it would have changed the result of the game as well.
It would have been the sort of goal that would have got the Liverpool fans applauding for him. It would have been so insane.
But can I be honest with you? For me, the type of goal I would want is actually the Southampton one. Even though I know he got the 3 points, and I know that that would have that goal he would have scored against Liverpool would have affected the game more. For me, the Southampton one was important because I was just so stressy for like angry, stressy, and really, peeved by the whole game. I was frustrated. I would have just been like, I would have smashed my laptop. I would have just been like, yeah! I would have just gone absolutely mad because it was the last action of the game. And it would have been like, that's what you get, Taylor. That's what you get. It would have just been one of those moments for me. Anyway.
I'd love it if you smashed your laptop and I didn't have to do this. I mean, I don't have to do this anymore.
Oh, yeah. I've already given you the out to not do it. You've chosen to do this because you said if we get 12 from 12 in those 4 games, and we did get 12 points for 12 points, I said you don't have to do it anymore. So here you are. You're back anyway as a friend. So there you go.
So now I need you to break your laptop from Murillo scoring a worldie.
If Murillo scores a worldie,
you still
I'll break my
way.
laptop. If Murillo scores a worldie, I'll break my laptop.
That's great. That's great.
Right.
Come on, next headline.
Next headline. Would contract sing-song?
I mean, if it was would contract, I'd be saying no because it's like, yeah, it's great. Sing-song? I'll say yes.
Yeah, so Chris Wood, absolute legend, new contract, signed and sealed and delivered, deserves it, absolutely deserves it.
Yeah.
Do you like? This isn't even that big. I don't even know why I'm saying this. You're going to hate this.
No, but you are saying it, so just say it.
Okay, so you and I have been to a few games this season. Every game that you and I have been to, Chris Wood has scored, by the way. All right, which is interesting. But I posted a thing earlier just saying another one valuable asset to this club on and off the pitch, right? Just Chris Wood, valuable asset, whatever. Happy enough. I did that on our Twitter thing. And then someone wrote back, valuable asset to this club on and off the pitch. Valuable asset to this club on and off the pitch. On and off the pitch. Woody always gets the best songs. And I don't know. It's Gibbs, Funny, and Forest, and I don't know if they're being.
Got you. So it's meant to be like Forest magic on and off the pitch. But okay.
But I don't know if it's an ironic. I don't know if it's a more of an ironic thing.
I think it sounds like Chris Wood always gets the best songs. He normally gets all the shit songs, doesn't he?
I think that's the point. Yeah, I don't know for sure.
Did you get Chris Wood's on fire? Your defense is terrified. Is that one? Have I just made that up?
No, but I think
simply having a wonderful Chris Wood time. Is one at Christmas time.
Yeah, Chris Wood time was the best. That was probably one of the best.
Chrissy Wood. No. They're actually quite good songs. Chrissy. They're actually quite good. For someone with such an unsingable name, Chris and Wood, it's like we've got some good tunes for him, to be fair.
Do you know what? Statsman Will was on the podcast with Matt Davies the other day, and he brought this up. There's a guy called JJ something. Well, I don't know what his name is, and he's done that Chris Wood song that everyone's talking about, and it's called If Chris Wood Could, Chris Wood Would, and it's a dance tune, and I've been playing it in work, and I dragged one of the young apprentices into the office today and played it, and I said, if Chris Wood could, Chris Wood would, and I just pressed play. It's a class tune for anyone who's listening. Check it out. It's fun. It's a fun dance tune, and it's gone viral.
Check that out.
Your man has released it.
Sounds like one of those limericks.
No,
Chris Wood with Chris Wood with Chris Wood with Chris Wood Chris Wood and Chris Wood and Chris Wood with Chris Wood. Sounds like one of those sort of things, doesn't it? Not that what I've just said made any sense, but you're talking about dance tuning.
No. I'm looking it up now. If Chris Wood could, Chris Wood would. That's the name.
Sounds like, what's it called?
JJ Bull on YouTube has done.
What's it called when someone says what? What's it called? What are those things?
It's called If Chris Wood Could, Chris Wood Would. That's the name of it.
I get it. I'm saying, what are those things called when people say, "Oh, I've got a quiz for a thing." When you go, what gets dry and wet at the same time?
A riddle.
Yeah, it feels like there could be a good riddle created out of if Chris Wood. If Chris Wood could, then would. Do you know what I mean? There's got to be something in there.
The riddle's done. We've got to move on.
We'll move it on then. So it's on you.
Okay. Next headline.
Giving you material to use.
Next headline, Matt. Next headline.
Forest Fantasy Vibes?
Yeah, it was going to be Forest Fantasy Vibes. Forest Fantasy Vibes.
Let's do
yes
it.
or no?
Let's do it.
No, yes or no. Say yes or no, Matt. Come on.
Yes.
Okay, the reason why you want to talk about Forest Fantasy Fives is because it's an imaginary game that you made up. The people who've played it for the last 6
It's
weeks.
not an imaginary game. It's a real fantasy football game, specifically for Nottingham Forest. It's about 5-a-side. A bit more fun. It's a little bit crazy. We have got a league go. We've been playing all season. And Chris, people listening to this might want to get involved next year. We need to tweak the rules. We haven't done so mid-season like we promised. But as it continues, the league is going strong. I've updated all the scores. I didn't play I had a roll because I didn't play the whole time I was away. It's always rolled over. And I find myself only 9 measly points behind you, Chris. We've got our own mini league. We've got the guys battling out at the top. We've got 2 people that don't ever play anymore battling out at the bottom. And there's those guys in the middle. Dave Sanders, yourself, me, your cousin James, Statsman Will and Matt Davies battling out for top spot. And me and you neck and neck. It's hilarious. You've done well. You've overtaken me because I went into that December spat quite ahead of you by about 80 points.
Here's what I find. Here's what I find ridiculous about this. Right, the Forest Fantasy Five game is we pick 5 players every week in 2 subs, and we have a point system that works, kind of like fantasy football. Right. Here's what I find.
I don't know if it works smoothly. I think we need to tweak it because it's very defender heavy.
It doesn't work smoothly. It doesn't work smoothly for one simple reason. Right. I told you at the beginning of the season that you wouldn't be able to keep it up. You went away for 5 or 6 weeks, and every single game since you went away, Brentford onwards, right, you didn't add the scores up. So every time someone messaged me, and there wasn't many people messaging me because they were nice, to be fair to the players, every time someone messaged me with the team or whatever, oh, what's the score? I don't have it because Matt has the spreadsheet with all the point system sorted, and you didn't do it because you're out on the beach swimming in paradise, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, but my thing is, you haven't kept it up. So hopefully the players still played every week because I nudged them. And to be fair, people like Matt Davies and Dave Sanders would always drop their team in, even Adam. So some people were actually pretty good at it. James as well. Actually,
because they trusted it wasn't going to be wasted. I've come back and done all the admin, and we're back on track.
Trust anything. Shut your mouth. They haven't trusted you as far as they could throw you. There's no trust. You've broken the trust, and now you have to build it back. And you do have the scores, and that's fine. I am not 9 points ahead of you. I'm way more than that ahead of you. You've cheated. I had Sells in a couple of weeks. I had Callum Hudson-Odoi, Anderson.
I haven't cheated. I've embarrassed you twice before when you've called me out for cheating. I have a spreadsheet. I do the points. It's all about marginal gains in Fantasy Fives. We're all picking pretty much the same team every week. I got lucky
because 6 weeks though. You didn't pick a team for 6 weeks. Your same week team rolled week to week for 6 weeks.
Yeah, but I picked players that are consistently being picked, including Nico Williams, who got an assist while I was away. That's big points. I got, I had Sells a couple of weeks when you didn't have Sells, and he got clean sheets. The ads, mate. And then I had Callum Hudson-Odoi as my captain, and he scored the other day, and he got an assist against, I don't know, Everton or Wolves or someone. So I actually kept on your tail. You only won one of the weeks that I was away. I won one of the weeks.
Well, I'll have to look into the data. Okay, there's numerous ways to break it down, but ultimately, I feel like you accuse me.
There aren't numerous ways to break it down. It's maths. It's numbers and points.
You're not good with maths. I hate to tell you, you're not good with maths.
You've said that so many times before you've been proven wrong, and I'm actually really good with maths. Got a mathematical and a musical brain.
Well,
I'm very good at maths.
if I could go back.
I'm not good with money. But you're clearly not good with English either and communication. Which is ironic. But you're not good at communication or maths. I'm good at maths.
I'm the one that dragged all the teams in for the last few weeks while you were away, and you've finally done the data and probably done it wrong. Look, let's move on to the next headline.
Okay, did you say that before and find yourself embarrassed when I showed you it and proved to you? Because I double check every score, and you got to remember a lot of them are scorings are the same because a lot of people are picking Chris Wood and captaining him, so they've just got the same points on that. It's about the differences on who picks maybe who's the assist. Or the subs. You had Sosa a couple of weeks and he didn't even come on.
Okay,
we all got minus points when Murillo didn't come on. Do you know what I mean?
Do you have a question?
No, we're discussing the Forest Fantasy Fives.
You asked me a question. You said, did I feel embarrassed the time that you called me out because you caught me for accusing?
There's been 2 times you've made me prove to you the maths, and you thought that I'd got it wrong, and then I've shown you it, and you've gone, oh shit, Matt's right. So do you remember those times to start with?
Yes, I do. And yes, you were right. But the most recent time you accused me of something today, specifically about cheating in Forest Fantasy Fives, and I showed you the screenshot proof that I didn't pick a team. And
that was just to wind you up. I panicked because I saw Anderson scored, and then I realized he was in my team as well. So I was like, yes!
Right. Well, let's move on. Let's move on. Okay.
I
Next
can't believe I had
headline.
Anderson in my
Right.
rolled over team the week that you had him in your rolled over week. And I saw you had him. I was like, oh no, Chris got Anderson. He scored against, who is it? Who did we play? Southampton.
I don't care. Let's move on. Next headline.
Forest Fan is 5, everyone. Get in touch, get involved. Get in touch, get involved.
Don't get involved. Okay.
Will, Statsman Will, you're going close to Pip in the top. Matt Davies did a tremendous job. Consistency.
It's funny how this headline has lasted longer than all the other ones that are actually about Forest. Right. Next headline.
Well, because this is our only thing that's unique to our podcast.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's unique. You not going missing would be unique. You not winding me up would be unique. You staying on the point talking about Nottingham Forest playing Bournemouth this weekend would not be unique. That would not be unique.
No, it would be unique.
It would. Chris would be unique. If Chris
would be unique. Not it would. Chris would be unique.
Okay.
It's
anyway,
good at your own pun, but well done.
Whatever. Forget the well done. I just want to sit back. I've been through the headlines with you about every single thing that you want to talk about. I just want to sit back. I want to talk about Bournemouth this weekend and how I want to destroy them at their stadium. I want to talk about, maybe I don't want to chew over the Southampton game too much because I was so stressed out at the back end of it. And more importantly, this is the most important thing. I want to get the last headline out before we wrap this up and move on so the Forest can continue soaring into the sky. Okay? Next headline. Past, present, excitement. It's not a great headline, but I would take it.
I've said no. I'm saying no.
Oh, okay. Okay, next headline. Previous parallels.
Oh God, your headlines are like your ideas for podcast titles.
I just made that one up because it's the headline for the same subject. Just say yes.
Yes.
Next headline is just say yes.
Just say yes.
No.
Yes. Yes. Go, get on with it.
Okay. There was a Liverpool fan on a podcast there recently enough, and I watched him talk, and I think he runs another Liverpool podcast called Redmen TV or something, and he was talking to, I think it was James Alcott, he was chatting away about how he was asked the question, does the feeling of the excitement that he's having this season in Liverpool's run to potentially winning the league for them have that same feeling that it had sort of under Klopp when they were kind of halfway through the season last year and they were kind of getting close because it was Klopp's last season, or even a few seasons before? Is it different? And he said it is different. It's different because there's no Klopp, and they kind of also expect, like, he made a good point. He said, look, there's other teams that were kind of writing us off, and I'm like, kind of, who do you think you are? Of course we could win the league. As a Liverpool fan, he was saying this, right? I'm asking you the same question about Nottingham Forest. Which run are you enjoying more? Forest are in third in the Premier League. We're potentially going to the Champions League. We're actually in a title race. Do you prefer the Championship run when we had Brees Samba, James Garner, Steve Cooper was taking us from the bottom of the league all the way up? You went to quite a few of the away games. Or do you prefer this run now?
Oh, I prefer them both for different reasons, definitely. I can say that I prefer the Championship.
Go ahead.
Well, I prefer the Championship one because as a fan base, we'd been on a quest for getting back to the Premier League for a couple of decades. And in recent years, ever since the Billy Davies era, where we felt so close, the Majewski, Earnshaw days, it just felt like an era into its own where we really believed that we were the deserving team every year, and slowly realised that we were actually the longest serving Championship team, I think, once Ipswich got relegated or Derby did or something like that. So it's like a long time coming, and to the point where it was like, I don't think this is ever going to happen. Just at the point after Chris Hughton, when it was like, this is never going to happen. Steve Cooper walks in. It was just incredible to be involved and a part of that as a fan, like, so unique. And therefore, because you could argue that once you're in the Premier League and established, what's happening now, I hope, isn't a one-off. I hope it becomes something that we push for and try and do, or you can see Brighton doing it, or Bournemouth think they're going to be doing it, or the Fulham, or maybe Everton have a big turnaround and they go back up there. West Ham, do you know what I mean? Forest are part of that. I'm speaking specifically from the perspective of enjoying the Cooper Championship run, because I'll come and talk about the Premiership run and the pros of that in a second. From the perspective of the Championship one being the preferable run, that's what this can look like, the thing we're in now. And it's just the specialness and the uniqueness. And then he actually did it, but he didn't just do it by beating Bournemouth that time and getting up automatic. It was the jeopardy with that Sheffield United and Brice Samba and all those characters. I mean, it was just we'll never have that sort of thing again. Whereas I like to think what we're experiencing now is new, but it's not a one-off. And therefore, I'll segue into the pros, I guess, of why this run is better. Well, because we're in the quote unquote the big boys league, which on a global stage, more people are talking about us. It's not as charming, it's not quite as cool, but it's more breathtaking. It's more the potential to become. I mean, we're having to now put our money where our mouth is, with as anyone would who asks for success. It's like, wow, is that really what you wanted? As in, it's the journey, not the destination. But hell, it feels like the destination is pretty great at the minute, and we might win the Premier League. We might be in the Champions League. It's just really cool. Not many football clubs get to say that. So is this run better than the Championship one? I don't think it's as charming and as cool and as unique, but is it more astonishing? Is it more hard to get your head around? Does it mean that sky isn't the limit and somewhere out in the stratosphere isn't the limit? It opens the mind and gives a new generation of fans a belief in a different way to what I think could have happened before. So yeah, both runs are brilliant. But if this becomes the end of our journey this year, I'd always cherish actually that Championship Steve Cooper run as one of the most special seasons or two of my life, really, especially my adult life as a Forest fan. Child life, I mean, with all those classic 90s things, but I was just a kid following Robin Hood and his merry men. Whereas now I'm one of the merry men.
That's a good way to end that headline. Yeah. There's not much really I can say that you haven't already covered. I think, look, the only thing I will say is we won't know, as you said, we won't know whether this is the true run that we prefer or not prefer until I think long after.
Well, we don't want it to be. You don't want it to be.
But even if, let's say, Forest go on and get Champions League this season, I think in 3, 4, 5 years' time, that's when I'll be able to look back at those two seasons as two amazing seasons, and which one I personally prefer. Each person will have their own preference. For me, right now, I'll tell you the truth. I would have always said the Championship run would be the one that I cherish the most, but this right now, where I am right now, if it continues the way it's going, and if we make, even if we make top 6, top 4, or whatever, title challenge, win the league, whatever, any one of those options, wherever we finish in the top 6, if we continue the way we're playing and the way things have gone and the teams that we've beaten, the way we've gone to Old Trafford and beat Man United, or the way that we've gone on a 7 out of 8 game winning streak, which is the first time, this for me will potentially pip that Championship run, but I don't know, and I won't know to the end of the season. Anyway, that's
cool,
that's
though,
that headline.
You know what I'm saying? When I was spelling out the Championship and where it came from, or what was on the backdrop of, now that even that's how good that was, that it's even in contention with a potential Premier League title chasing, Champions League chasing Nottingham Forest, with all these players maybe getting Cunha from Wolves or whatever, Cunha from Wolves, Cunha. I think we can,
well, look,
the fact that you're even comparing it speaks volumes, I'm afraid. And with that, my friend, I'm going to go and watch the rest of the Traitors series to catch up.
Okay. Let's wrap this up. Obviously, there's potentially a big bid going in for Cunha. That's been spoke about really quickly. That would be a massive thing for us. Can we just talk about that briefly?
What do you want to talk about? You just talked about it. It would be massive for us.
Yeah, but what I basically want to talk about is obviously we've had a bid for Wissa turned down. We're now bidding for Cunha, which is a massive amount of money and it'll break a lot of
Thomas
structures.
Frank's not letting Wissa leave Brentford, especially not to come to us.
They've already rejected the first offer. So look, anyway, regardless of that, it does feel like, I mean, Arsenal have been looking for a striker all window. They might end up with Cunha. Who knows what's going to happen? But the fact that Forest now in third are doing that ambitious thing, and it's all down to the owner, and it's all down to recruitment. It's all down to the club.
Well, yeah.
I love that they're going for this. Doesn't this just show our ambition at least?
Well, it doesn't surprise me. I've been backing the owner since when everyone was crying over his email or his tweet or whatever it was. Well, that stuff doesn't matter. This is why we love him. This is what people want to. We're ignoring. He's here to play the game of Monopoly football, and he's going to win. He wants to win it, and it's just brilliant.
Good, right. Well, we'll leave it at that. And Cunha would be a good addition. Everyone spoke about his technical ability and everything. All the other better podcasts must have done that. So, I just wanted to get your sort of view on it. That's fine.
Until it happens, it's just like, well, yeah, Forest have maybe put in a bid. I mean, it's like whatever.
Yeah.
It'll be incredible. I don't even think he'd rock the boat. I mean, that's what Nuno's job is. And they're adults. They're professional footballers. They get talked about like they're 4-year-olds coming to nursery. If you're going to screw up the dynamic, mate, we're going to fine you, and that should be in his contract. If he's really that petulant an individual and unprofessional, then I hope the Forest, what do you call it? The Forest powers that be manage that.
But that's
manage it. Be professional. Yeah. It's not a conversation.
Fair enough, but that's I suppose that's part of the conversation. That's part of recruitment as well. Recruiting the right mentality, the right player, the person who has the right attitude coming in, and they wouldn't be looking at a player of his quality.
I think Marinakis is a culture. I think he's a trailblazer, and he cuts the problems. The conversation has been circulating in the media about Cunha's attitude, and then when people go, "Oh, footballers have these things." This is all just culture. This is all just like people following what's been said, and not really. Marinakis is a trailblazer and an artist. And he will pierce that, and Cunha won't beat Marinakis. He won't screw up the dressing room. Marinakis won't have it.
Okay, right. Well, we'll leave that there. I'm going to do a review corner, and we're going to leave. So we'll put the music over the top of this in a second.
You're going to do it on your own?
No, I don't. No, I don't want to do it on my own. Welcome. I don't want to do it on my own. Welcome to the review corner, which I'm late on. Whoops, it's the wrong review corner. Oh no, I've messed it up. Maybe I should do it on my own. No, here we go. We've got Premier Elliot, who says a Forest All Over episode. He was talking about the one where you were swimming, so 2 weeks ago. A Forest All Over episode where Chris plays Aladdin, and when he gets the lamp, out comes Matt as the genie.
I like that.
That's Elliot, absolute legend. We've got
I'm going to Brighton with Elliot, aren't I?
Yeah, you'll see Elliot at Brighton. Steve, another great episode, guys. Although I think IMDb might need to update their Tom Hanks filmography section, and it's Flipper with a picture of Flipper with Tom Hanks and I think it's Daryl Hannah, the actor. And then Richard Spray, just talking Reds. He said, Matt in the pool is another level. I thought the casual swaying in the hammock was incredible. He has gone to another level of podcasting. So
that's funny.
Yeah,
I was trying to find interesting motivation for our round the world guests.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
That's nice to hear, though. I'm glad it was appreciated.
Yeah, and before I do go,
tell about our content.
Yeah, okay, Matt, relax. Right, before I do go, I just want to say, my cousin James was at the Southampton game this weekend. He's good luck. He's never been to a game that we've lost. He's been to a few games now. And he had a vlog that he did on a YouTube channel. Nothing big. He just wanted to do it because it's fun. I'll put it in the description below if anyone wants to see some of that Southampton stuff. Because he was at
your cousin James did it?
Yeah, he did a little vlog. Yeah, it was only
he's class. Yeah. He's a legend. Love him. Yeah. Love the guy.
Yeah, well, look, it's at the end of the show. So anyone who stayed, click on it, give it a like, help him out.
He's sneaking up the table in Forest Fantasy Fives as well.
I know.
He's slowly climbing.
I know.
I think he's third.
I think, well, I don't know because you've just done the data today. Anyway,
Dave Sanders is like stuck on fourth. It's constantly
looking forward the whole way. All right, final thing here. I asked randomly a friend of ours who was on the phone to me earlier, as a joke one night, who is more mad, me or Matt? And I asked Ed this, and then Ed rang me earlier, and I hadn't even looked at the text, and I suddenly saw it as I was on the phone to him. I want to read this out to you as the music fades out. This is what he said. Matt has some, inverted commas, different thinking patterns to the average person. I wouldn't say he's mad though, as he's completely aware of what he is. You are much more, inverted commas, normal. However, you have moments where you go, and my word, when you go, you really go absolutely nuts. So it's a toss-up, really. I think if people meet the two of you for a short period, they would think you. For a long period, they might say Matt. But the truth is, you're opposite sides of the same coin. In many ways, you're like spinning magnets, often pulling strongly towards one another, but on the turn of a sixpence, instantly being repelled by each other and at a loss as to what the F the other is. And that will end the podcast. Welcome back to the Forest All Over podcast, Matt. It's great to have you back. We're doing the Pathway episode next week with Statsman Will and Matt.
This long-awaited Pathway episode. So you've talked about it more than you've talked about Forest in the past 8 weeks, I think.
How would you know? You weren't here the past 8 weeks.
Yeah, but I tune in and listen. Yeah, I've got eyes and ears everywhere. Let me tell you.
You think you do. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.